Yeah, JD and Tom, you guys are good. Let's see what JD and Tom Bot are bringing. I mean, I can guess a fair amount of what either of these players are playing, but I guess I might get surprised. I opened the deck list before the event just to check that they worked. I did not actually process the information because I thought it'd be more interesting this way. That's so toxic, JD. Alright, what other tables? So we have Jordan versus Ignacio, Angus versus Adam, and Pinky versus Marco as the winners tables. Alright, well, JD is usually on Walks or Grixis, so I'm going to assume this is Walks. It could be something crazy like Naya midrange, but I think this is a relatively safe bet. And Tom's going to put an Ancient Tomb or a Mishra's Workshop in play. Once upon a time? Oh, this is probably Eldrazi then, right? This is Workshop. Okay. That's the Tudor one, right? So I think... Yeah, okay. So assuming that JD is on Walks, I would probably give him an edge in the matchup on average, just because the deck is less likely to care about combat, and most decks that Tom would be playing would be attempting to put creatures in play. Having the Dismember is a huge deal. Okay. We're casting a Ponder, probably looking for another mana dork. We'll see what happens. Jeweled Amulet, Thespian Stage, Dismember. Alright, no mana dork's a big deal. This is the turn that Tom's probably going to start playing things that matter, like Fleshraker and stuff. Nope, never mind. We're just going to take it nice and slow. I don't know what the point spread is on Eldrazi these days, especially because we put Academy to 2, so you're less incentivized to do that. Okay. Okay, we have a Tameo with a Spring Heart on it. If the Tameo dies, we'll get the Spring Heart back. If it doesn't, we can make Tameo tokens, which won't do anything. Okay, so we've got a Micah Spawn. This will get Temple or Eye. Or Depths. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I didn't know this package made it in. That's sick. I guess if you're playing a bunch of land shooters, like Expedition map, kind of makes sense. Well, JD is now under the gun. They can make some random critters. They can get a clue token. E-Witness the Ponder, I think? Okay. And they're not quite dead to Marit Lage yet. Tamio can block it for a turn, and it's not being made until next turn's end step. So they've got this turn to spin the wheels, and then some percentage of next turn to spin the wheels. Should have Swords and Solitude. Yeah. Like, assuming that JD can find an answer to Merit Lage, which isn't super difficult, it'll depend entirely on, like, if they have to shuffle with this Ponder, it's probably a bad sign. They did not shuffle. Okay. So I think the odds that Merit Lage just gets there is pretty low. Whether or not Tom feels the need to go for it is interesting. Really depends on his hand makeup here. If he can keep doing other things, I would expect him not to make a Merit Lage, especially because their spin stage is one of the lands that he's using to make mana. And he doesn't have too many of those at the moment. Oh, hell yeah, get in there. Yeah, right. I mean, this does mean there's no Ayavugan Reality Smasher, at least. Okay, hitting Temple and saying go. Okay. Well, suit up, team. If... So it's entirely possible that Tom can make a depth and be dead. This is much more aggressive in terms of the gameplay experience than our round 1 feature match of Grixis versus Grixis Light. So it's entirely possible Tom is dead if he has nothing here. I think the odds that he has stone nothing is quite low. But he's already used his Dismember, so it's probably like a Kozilek's command that he can use to exile something. You know, the 3 means he can tag Nadu. And obviously JD still needs another piece. Okay. Looks like it's Nadu Go versus Merit Lage. Yep. Alright. I don't know whether the Eldrazi decks have got more of a game plan to go with Merit Lage, like Not of This World or anything like that. But I think it's most likely attack for 20, throw something under the bus, attack for 20, throw something else under the bus, and then hope to go off. Whether or not that'll work... Yeah, I would expect. Oh, there is a Smasher. Hell yeah. Well, not chumping that. Oh, the Merit Lage is a... Oh no, it's black. It's still at 2020. That's funny. This is so much damage. So we have to block Merit Lage. And then what? If we double block Reality... No, we can't double block Reality Smasher. If we double block Micah Spawn, that's terrible. So we just take 10. And then next turn, we have to block Merit Lage and hope not to be dead. Okay, Ephemerate a big deal. Less dead. Love that. Okay, Ephemerate's quite a large deal, because we get a Nadu trigger, we then can Ephemerate E-Witness, and get a Nadu trigger. We can then get Ephemerate back with E-Witness, and keep going. We take 10 down to 8. Beseiju Who Endures off the Jeweled Amulet. Okay, well the Spring Heart's gone. The Spring Heart is a big deal, because it means the big Nadu turn is far less likely to go infinite. We still have 3 permanents, so 6 triggers. But in that sequence, we either have to answer the board or win the game. And it's possible that some of that isn't doable. Alright, so we blink the E-Witness, we pick up the Ephemerate back. Still currently dead on board. Or very close to it. I suppose chump, chump, chump. Not dead. Hits the walk! That's so gross! That's so gross. Alright, well. Staring down, 32 power. Never mattered. Wasn't close. That is rancid gameplay. So for anyone in chat who is somehow not familiar, E-Witness plus Ephemerate plus Time Walk does the thing, and you get to go infinite. And in this case, because JD specifically has a flying creature with power, they have it locked up. Unless they mess it up. Which is technically possible. And I believe that is currently Tom's out. Is that JD fucks up, loses an extra turn somewhere, and then takes 30. So I guess we'll see. I mean, they had a bunch of cards in hand, but I assume that some percentage of this was off the top. Nomads doesn't matter, but it does let us end the game quicker. Sure. Yeah, I think the green Eldrazi Stompy matchup versus the Walks deck, as mentioned at the start of the game, I think it probably favors Walks by enough that I imagine the Eldrazi deck is taking quite a lot for it out of the board where possible. You have minor interaction points and you have a bunch of pressure, but the ability to disregard combat via conventional means, especially with things like Ephemerate using to fog creatures, it's pretty bad. Alright, that is GG to game 1 of round 2. I haven't done the math, but I assume that this is lethal. Alright, going into game 2, I would expect a fair amount of hate pieces. I don't know how much Walks would be getting against Eldrazi. They have 4 blasts, which don't do anything. They have usually some amount of artifact destruction, which may or may not be relevant. It's probably going to be some minor adjustments from Tom's side, and either very few adjustments, if any, on JD's side, and then we just run it back and see what happens. This is sort of the pinnacle of Highlander at the moment, where a lot of the combo decks have the ability to just blow you up. There's very few incidental resource-based combo decks that exist at the moment. No one's playing like traditional Storm or anything, or Eggs. And so that, we're at a board where, like, for a couple of turns, there was very minor movements. People were making land drops, couple of removal spells got cast. And then all of a sudden, Tom is threatening like 40 damage and then dies on the spot. A little bit heinous. For what it's worth, I don't think Nadu was the problem there. In saying that, I understand why people think it should be 2 points, but randomly spiking Time Walk and then winning the game on the spot is what happened there. Alright, let's see. We have a result? Someone's already dead. It's been 10 minutes. Ah, it's been 20 minutes. Okay, that's a bit more reasonable. It's interesting that Walks is still playing red after Fable and Flage got pointed. I guess Pyroglyph and Warlock are just too good, and AI and Red Blasts. I would have kind of assumed that they would have gone to black by now, but I guess Psychic Frog also got pointed. Alright, game 2. Tom is taking the play, obviously. Let's see what happens. It's a powder? Yeah, powder. Powdered away an Eye of Ugin, a Mana Vault, Reality. Ooh, okay. I mean, this is a hand I would be tempted to just take a mulligan on, but... this isn't really an Eye of Ugin matchup. Probably better just to powder and have a full grip. For anyone who doesn't know, this card doesn't show up that often. Serum Powder is basically a random mana rock, like it's 3 mana for an artifact, taps for colorless. But if it's in your hand, you can exile the hand to take a free mulligan. And it really only ever shows up in decks where you need very specific lands that make lots of mana, like Mishra's Workshop. Turn 1 Soaring's pretty good. Oh, turn 1 Soaring Torpor Orb. Oh boyo. Okay. Well, let's see if JD has a response to that. That is a hell of a turn 1. Because now you're under pressure because Tom has access to 4 mana next turn. You can't Solitude any of his creatures. If he plays like a Thought Nazi here, you're just like dead. Looks like he kept the hand off the back of Torpor Orb. And I think it was a... might have been a mulligan to 6. Yeah, it was. Okay. So I think it's likely that Tom is either sitting here waiting for more mana or sitting and waiting to draw gas. Whether or not that'll be good enough will depend largely on what kind of interaction JD has access to over the course of this game. If they can get rid of the Torpor Orb, that's a big deal. If they can't, they're not going to be able to just go infinite and blow them up. The Kozilek's command for 2? Okay. I'm assuming this is getting counted in some regard. I don't know what with. Spell Pierce, maybe? Yeah, okay. Misstep back? No. Alright. So it's really a matter of what kind of threat we can play. That is not a threat by itself, but it does mean that Tom has access to much larger Eldrazi without needing to draw more mana. So, you know, Devour of Destiny, which he might have naturally drawn. Worldbreaker, maybe. So it's a very imposing board presence that Tom has presented, but it functionally isn't applying actual pressure. So whether or not JD wins this game will largely depend on if they can get rid of Torpor Orb and go for a combo, or whether they can just win with random idiot mid-range creatures like Pyroglyph. And yeah, you know, like, every one of Tom's top decks is live now. Everything but lands. Yeah, Vexing Ball was okay. Probably just cracking it. Yep. Reroll, try and find something big. Misses again. So still no pressure, which is quite unfortunate because, like, to mulligan this aggressively, powder plus normal mulligan, and to hit a Torpor Orb and a 3-point card, and then just to do nothing, that's very much the state of, like, Stompy decks in Highlander. You kind of just go pseudo all-in on your opening hand and hope it gets there. So there's going to be a bunch of nothing. JD will spin some wheels. And then eventually, Tom will either play something big and stupid that wins him the game, or he won't. So let's see what happens. Yep. Well, every random mana rock gains life, I guess. If that Kozilek's command resolved, I think this game would look kind of different. Because those O1s would have been 2/3s. E-Call's a big deal. I don't know if Walks is playing a creature that you can tutor for that blows up Torpor Orb. I don't know if they're playing Fungus or Haywire Mine. It might be that this E-Call just gets like a Tameo. Or a Nadu. Paying more costs. Oh, shit. They hit the Beseiju. Alright. So the Torpor Orb's gone. And we know JD has 4 unknowns and a Nadu. If one of those unknowns is like Nomads? Yeah, I would assume it's just Beseiju. The fact that they hit it is a huge deal. But at the same time, they're not actually presenting like lethal. So I think Tom has about 2 more draw steps. Maybe 3. If he draws something that interacts with the board or the hand, that's going to matter. Or he can draw nothing. Alright, so Tamiyo's going to get in there, make a clue. JD has a Nadu and 5 unknowns. I think it's relatively safe to say that Tom's hand is just 2 lands. If it was any creature, he would have cast it. If it was Dismember, he would have cast it. Thought not? Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Is the game over? If JD doesn't have a spell, they're dead. They're just dead. If they don't have a counter spell or a burn spell, they're dead. What is this? Tishana's Tidebinder. Okay, well, they can attack the Khan. I guess that means you just don't get ladders here, and you get something big and stupid, like a spaceship or a ballista or something. God, that's a lot of mana. Is Eldrazi playing like a cityscape leveler? Some big, dumb, random idiot permanent to get with Khan? Surely, right? Surely there's something massive that isn't Lattice. Unless it's just Lattice plus Dismember kill you. Okay, Bolt for the Khan as well. So Lattice is not it. So I think if we wait to Bolt the Khan after getting Lattice, we might find out some more information. But I don't know what they can get. It's probably like a Ballista, but that would be in the main. It might be something like a Sundering Titan. If it's a Sundering Titan, this game's so over. The fact that Tom's in the tank here suggests that he's choosing between a couple of different medium options. I don't think there was anything in his powder he could get that mattered. No. Goalless, Tireless Pilgrim. Yeah, fair enough. Gives you a guy on board. Gives you a bit more mana. I doubt he's playing Cascading Cataracts to flip Goalless. This is probably just getting, like, Eldrazi Temple, because Ayavukin's here. Or a Saga or something. Yeah, Saga. Sure. Okay, well, that was a big turn. Ate the Tidebinder, ate the Bolt, have a creature, have a Saga going. JD's hand is Nadu plus 4 random cards, and they're going to have 4 mana plus 2 clues. What the hell is this? Green Suns for 3. What are you e-witnessing here? Just a land? Guess. Just make your land drop? Yeah, okay. So they're willing to play a slow game, have more resources, and play when they do decide to go for it. Tom's been either incredibly patient with like a Dismember, or he's still running pretty close to just having air. The Bauble is in the graveyard, so I don't know what other Urza Saga targets there are if it gets to stage 3. It might not. He might just die this turn. I mean, he does get to do a thing. It's just a matter of if that thing matters. So if it's like a Thought-Knots here, that's a big deal. Chalice of the Void would be pretty good. I doubt there's any way to pick up the orb from the graveyard. It would probably need to be exiled for the Khan, but the Khan's gone. Is this like an Ulamog? No, not enough mana. Okay. That's pretty good. Well, it's fine. It means you get in for 5, and then you make a Saga token, and you have them dead next turn. But JD still has quite a lot of cards in hand. They have access to 5 mana next turn, 6 if they hit another land drop, but they don't have a land at the moment because they e-witness the Heath. I would still put money on JD to win this game, assuming their hand is any kind of functional. Like, they've dealt with the Torpor Orb, they've dealt with the Khan. I mean, if the hand is non-functional, then that's bad. Alright, Spellseeker, walk. Unless they have a blue land or a white land. Yeah, even this is in the graveyard, right? Okay. They might be able to set up lethal, but I think this is probably just explore. And then untap and start cracking clues and hope to get out of it. I imagine they're trying to get bailed out here. Which, again, is part of the power of the walks deck. Is you do just have the ability to get bailed out sometimes. Brainstorm's a good draw. So they still have a Nadu floating somewhere now in their top 7. They have the Spellseeker in play, but they can't get walk with it if they hit Ephemerate. If they hit like Timeless Witness, they can get the walk back. Did they hit a Nomads? Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, well. Here we go. Unless Tom has a response. Oh? Dismember? Hell yeah. No way there's an Ephemerate too. That's so gross. That's so gross. Okay, so Tom was patient with the Dismember and is now probably dead. Not deterministically dead, but probably dead. Nadu going to 3. It's got to go to 2 first. Although, I don't think this Arid Mesa can get green mana for the birds. I think they're stopping. And then just Naduing an upkeep. It looks like they bricked. I mean, they have a full hand, but I think they bricked. And Tom has a Wayscape Battle Mage in hand. What lands can this get? A Plateau? Is that it? Mother of Runes go again? Sure. Hit an island. If they hit a green source, they can play the birds. Hits a forest! That's so gross. That's so gross. Okay, it looks like they've stopped. They have a full grip. They can do 10 more triggers in Tom's upkeep if they want. And then I don't know what outs Tom has other than like a natural ballista for 1 million. That's probably the line. Unfortunately, Graham, all his dust is in the graveyard. Tom has already cast all his dust this game. Ugin would work. Ugin, the spirit dragon, would work. If it resolves, which it might not. Yeah, to reiterate, JD started this turn cycle with 5 lands in play and no permanents. They then Spellseekered for Time Walk to explore, and then Nadu Nomads and Ephemerated to beat a Dismember, and are now going off again. They did have clues, that's very true. The clues did not blow up to all his dust. Notably, they have not cracked the clues, because they don't need to. This is pretty gross. Pretty gross. Yeah, no, they definitely did have them. Stupid bird. Alright, so JD has 900 cards in hand. Their Earnest is in the graveyard, so they have to find Timeless Witness to go infinite. Tom does get something with Saga. I cannot remotely figure out what could be an out with Saga, because the Vexing Ball was already in the graveyard, so you're not hitting Ephemerate. Cast Force of Vigor. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is pretty sick. Game 1, I'm fairly confident it was off the top. And then game 2 kind of just took some extra turns and then had 900 Nadu triggers. Pretty good. Look, the Nadu to 2 stands. I'm not opposed. It's the Nadu to 3 people that I think maybe need to chill out, because this was a sequence of events. Whether or not this sequence of events should be allowed in this format is a very separate question. Alright, we have left Tom's upkeep. He gets to get a Saga target. We know Sol Ring's gone, we know Vexing Ball was gone, we know Mana Vault's gone. There might be like a Haywire Might, which isn't going to do anything. And there might just be like a Mishra's Bauble to try to mine something out, but I don't know what outs they have. I can't think of any way. Like, now that Force of Vigor happened and the Sol Ring and the Forsaken Monument are gone, I don't even know if it's possible for Tom to cast Ugin. I guess it'd be like Ancient Tomb. Relic. We're going to cycle the Relic, sure. Ancient Tomb Ugin does not do it now. The Walk's gone. Okay. The Walk's gone to Relic. If we can just not die. You get Nadu or Time Walk, not both. Well, Time Walk costs 6 because it has Spellseeker. So if Nadu goes to 2, we already don't get to do both. So bouncing the Nadu, which is honestly because it has 3 power and flying. And Tom is trying to buy as many turns as possible to find an Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Notably, JD's Time Walk has been exiled by Relica Progenitors, which means they are going to have to just beat all of Tom's permanents to win this game. Like, realistically, just kind of one at a time and then get a bunch of chip damage in with creatures. Which is a reasonable plan in this spot. I don't think they've lost any of their big creatures. Morlock's still alive. Omnath's still alive. Pyroglyph's still alive. Got a plow with Spellseeker. Makes sense. I think this is probably Morlock. Maybe Nadu's happening first. Oh no, this is Pyroglyph. Or Green Suns for 3 or something. I don't even know what this is. I mean, JD has 11 cards in hand. Whether they can win this game or not, now that they can't go infinite, depends on 2 things. 1, if Tom can draw some big haymaker that doesn't get countered, that clears the board, like Ugin the Spirit Dragon. And 2, if JD can win with 6 minutes. The time pressure is going to be quite real here. Maybe not the most real, but I assume they don't have any lands that are fetchable anymore. Maybe like a plains. So this is the amount of mana they're going to have. And the Walk's exiled. The Nadu's in hand. If we play Nadu, then like Ballista's probably an out. Tom did just lose 2 talismans to Seeds of Innocence, so Ugin's much harder to cast now. There's like Ancient Tomb and City of Traders to get closer. It's going to be a close game, regardless. Like, now that the time pressure is actually real, it'll be interesting. Spring hard on Carver, that's fair enough. Start trying to close the game out. Okay. That's an okay one. If they can make enough chump blockers, like if Tom can make enough chump blockers to survive, because, yeah, JD has 10 cards left in library, so if they play Nadu, they're probably going to die. They have 4 minutes on the clock. And they don't have Time Walk to set up, like, big turns. So they're probably going to have to dig for Morlock and Pyrograph and try to end the game that way. This is game 2, and JD is up. But because it's Moto, if JD runs out of time, that is the end of the match. So it's going to be close. I assume just a bunch of removal is going to start getting cast. Just random idiot creatures. Kill the Flesh Raker. Oh, we're going upstairs. Fair enough. Alright, let's get in there. Probably can't rummage. Oh, maybe. I mean, this is going to be a lot of damage very quickly. I think 3 minutes is going to be enough. I think it's unlikely that JD loses this match from here. So we'll see. What did we bounce? Pyroglyph. Yeah, okay. Alright. Tapland Go is a little uninspired. I think that's going to be it. So if we go upstairs to 8, I think Tom has to start chumping. I assume there's like a Morlock coming or some kind of removal spell to close it out. Yeah, there's the Morlock. Exile the Flesh Raker. They have to block. Is he dead this turn? I don't think so. I think he's going to like... Oh no, he's on 8, not 12, yeah. My Nadu to 3 position is 1 extra point based on power, 1 extra point based on the non-deterministic and annoyingly difficult. Yeah, look. That's reasonable. GG's! Onion Girl wins 2-0 versus Venerable Lamasu. That was a really interesting game.